Welcome to the Tech Matchmaker, the show where contact center challenges meet their perfect tech match. I'm your host, Gina Gibson, and in just 15 minutes, we serve up the smartest, coolest innovations shaking up the contact center industry. Whether you're searching for your next solution or just love staying ahead of the curve, we've got the insights to keep you in the know. Let's dive in and discover what's next. I promise you, it's going to be fun. Good morning, everyone. Today we're chatting with Eli Cox, CEO and owner, and Emmett Johnson, Director of Strategic Partnerships of Snowfly Performance, Inc. Eli and Emmett, I've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Gina.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with the basics. Eli, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
As you said, I'm the CEO and part owner of Snowfly. I've been running the company now for, I think we're coming on 8 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. I actually started at Snowfly as a junior developer and just kind of worked my way up. And then the original owner who started the company in 1999 retired, and I bought it from him quite a while ago, specifically because we wanted to like rewrite technology and get everything into the cloud. And I just saw huge opportunities there. So a little bit about me from that. I'm an accountant by training and a software engineer by hobby. And so that is the story of my life, is just constantly figuring out how businesses work and then solving problems using technology and software. And that has been the story of my life. And story of Snowfly, it's kind of been a reflection of who I am. So that's just a little bit of who I am.
That's awesome. A tough act to follow there, Emmett, but do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself too?
Yeah, I've been with Snowfly for I'm in my 7th year, and so I was one of the first hires, I guess, Eli had. And I come from a background in finance. Actually, spent 25 years in financial services, managing money for people, and I basically wanted to change careers because I am not a brandy sniffer cigar type Wall Street reader guy. I like to deal with people and the more laid back culture of the software SaaS industry. And so I interviewed multiple different people and found a home with Snowfly and just love it.
That's fantastic. And Emmett, I'll stick with you for a little bit here. Why don't you go ahead and give us the Snowfly elevator pitch?
Right on. Well, okay. So in the world of contact centers, particularly, those are jobs where you are working a pretty difficult gig. And as Eli has said before, it can be soul sucking. And so adding a little bit of joy and entertainment and gamification into that process can lighten it somewhat. But contact centers are great because they also track the most amount of data. So the more data that is collected, the more things that we can attach little gamification to. And that's kind of how Snowfly started, right? 26 years ago, was taking the psychological principles of the founder that, for his career, he basically, helped employers engage their employees in the workplace using psychological principles and gamification. And so that's where our roots are. Then about 6 years ago, we got tired of trying to gamify, analytics data because it was actually not that great for the agent itself. Very good high level data that you could get, strategic information, but you really couldn't use it well for agents. And so we decided we were going to build our own product so that it would give you all the same high level data, but also allow the agents to self-train using their analytics that they're getting from our automated quality monitoring. So it just was a natural fit. We do coaching, we have incentives, recognition, of course, the games, surveys. We kind of have all the solutions that you need to drive employee retention, which ends up hopefully with some better CX numbers, improved performance numbers for the agents and supervisors, and we can make everything more efficient and automated. So all together, it's a really great package program that you can, fit in just about any environment, much less, BPO contact center space, but just about in any industry. And it's a la carte and it's a monthly billing. So there you go. We basically we try to be able to fit everybody's needs and budget.
And
So Gina, sorry, before I go, that was the 60 floor elevator pitch. So that was
That's when Alf hit
then it's
all the buttons.
going
on
all the way to the penthouse elevator
entire-
pitch.
yeah,
the CN Tower in Toronto
Well,
elevator.
that's what you get when you ask a sales guy to give you a rundown on your business.
I love it. Actually, I actually love it. And my follow-up question on that is, what would you guys say sets you apart from your competitors? And I know from working with you in the past, the monthly billing is one thing where customers are not tied into a long-term kind of contract situation. But in the gamification and recognition space, what sets you guys apart?
I'll take that, Emmett. So there's really three principles that we've tried to live through since I've been running the company. And the first principle for everything is white glove service. So if you talk to any of our clients, they love us. We make long-term, permanent friendships with our clients. Our longest client has now been with us for 22 years. And that's beyond, just me. That's just the principle of the company. So if you work with Snowfly, you're going to create a lifetime relationship. That's just what we do. The second thing we do is we're not an out of the box. We're not a cookie cutter solution. So you can get up and running in 2-3 days, but we are going to adapt. We're going to apply. And like Emmett said, we're an a la carte system. So you're going to get what you need, and you don't have to overpay for licensing or for products that aren't going to apply or that are already duplicated in other places. Like, we're very aware coming into an HRIS, you've already got surveys and something. So we don't make you pay for that bloat. And so we can give you exactly what you need and customize it to be the way that you need it. And that sets us aside. That sets us apart. The ROI on that alone will usually take care of any of our competitors when we come into a deal. The third is the structure of the way our company is set up. We're about a year and a half, 2 years ahead of most of our competitors. And the reason I say that is because rather than spending all of our money on marketing, we spend our money on products and on people. And so what that allows us to do is to be very flexible and very fast, and to be able to adapt to the AI stuff that is exploding and to new technologies and new security issues. And because of that, we don't grow by 100x, but we retain our clients, and all of our clients bring us partnerships and referrals. And that keeps us more than busy enough for anything that we could do. And so we can help you cut edge. We can help you into new technology. And even with like government clients, we can even help you take 10 steps back and go back to where the government is from the 1990s. And we can do everything in between. And it's because of the foundational way we built our technology.
Excellent. And you guys, kind of pulling the covers back a little bit, how does Snowfly help with agent retention and making sure, like, ensuring their performance is there? And we're in, as you said, it could be soul sucking. We're in a high turnover kind of industry, right? In the contact center space. So talk a little bit about the specifics about how Snowfly helps with that.
Right. So what we've seen is there are a lot of gamification things out there. And the obvious thing that we've seen is most people, I would say 90% of the market, doesn't understand gamification. So they'll throw leaderboards, they'll throw fancy recognition things, and that is really fine. It actually works. But what we see is a law of diminishing returns and boredom. And so generally speaking, when you just throw gamification into a product or as a product in and of itself, you'll have good retention for 3 to 6 months, and then it will die on the vine. So what we ended up doing, and the way we approach it, is rather than selling gamification for gamification's sake, what we do is we try to find what is happening in the life cycle of the agent, and then we try to support them. And as Emmett said, you attach the gamification to the things that are being supported. Our favorite and our most valuable thing that we've been able to really move the needle on agent tenure is specifically agent dashboards. It is one of the most neglected products on the market because it's expensive and it's difficult. And so you can show agents points and you can show agents like comparisons versus other agents, but to really show them what their supervisors want, and then to utilize our quality tools, our AQM tools, our survey and feedback tools, our KPI tools, you give the agent the ability to actually change their performance and then get tracked in near real time. That's what we find is the number one driver for agent retention, is giving them a little bit more control over their job. The way that you lose agents is having them show up to a coaching session and get blindsided by a performance problem that they had no idea that they had.
Yeah.
And when you're a Home Depot, when you're some huge company that has the money to build it out, that's fine. But let's be honest, most companies don't have the resources and they can't go pay for a Tableau integration to provide to their agents. It's just too expensive. So the
Absolutely.
second piece that is the second most important that we beg all of our clients to do is, especially in a digital world, you need to connect your employees. And so we suggest remote work. We see major productivity gains from remote work. However, your agent tenure will actually decrease with remote work because they feel isolated and lost. And then the interactions they do have are coaching or training, which is either one, really boring, or two, it's a negative interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a whole series of tools that help people. It is still remote, so it's not as good as actually people being together, but it gives them recognition tools. It gives them communication tools. It gives them teamwork tools that makes the team feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And that's the second thing. If you can get your team members to feel like they're part of something that they actually care about, that will make a big difference. And when you're a BPO and you're outbound selling, which is a tough thing to do, you can't unify around the product because you get yelled at too much. And so it's very difficult to unify around that product. But you can unify around culture, or you can unify around environment. And so you just have to be a little bit creative. And then working with our consultants and our experts, we can help you utilize whatever that culture piece is and help you gather around that as a team to feel human again and not just a invisible piece of a cog.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's fantastic. And we can stick on that stream or talk about one of the other modules, but what are some of the results you guys are seeing from your customers? Like a sense of the impact of using Snowfly?
That's a great question. So our highest ROI product right now, interestingly, has actually been our manual QA product. So we have a whole bunch of tiers with our manual QA product, but effectively what the product does is it ingests interactions, calls, video recordings, emails, tickets, chat, text. It doesn't matter, right? Interactions. And then we provide a whole suite of tools for leadership, supervisor, quality team, management, it doesn't matter, but leadership, to be able to monitor those interactions. And then utilizing the tools and the reports and then the agent dashboards and then the gamification, we've seen a speed to proficiency from the agents that we've never seen before using any products. And what we are researching and have some white papers written on is it's that ability to, one, be able to blame the software to the software's the bad guy. So then your supervisor is your advocate. So your supervisor comes in and you open these reports together and you say, look what the software found. I can't believe it. Well, let's work together to see how we can fix this. And then all of a sudden you've got this coach friend. And we're able to provide agents and practically near real-time feedback, and we're able to integrate into the LMS, and then we're able to integrate into our coaching system. And you just build this tool set. And what we found is you're moving quality from a checkbox requirements to a speed to proficiency tool where everyone feels empowered. And you're building a team again, right? Your supervisor is now, again, moving toward an advocacy instead of a bad guy, instead of the cracking the whip kind of a fix your problems. And
Yeah.
I know that sounds just a little bit like too good to be true, But that is literally why we have our gamification, and that's why we always give our suggestions of, here's what you could do as a team, and here's, Valentine's is coming up. So a lot of our clients are using candygrams. They're sending out fun little Valentine's messages to each other, and when they're achieving their KPI goals, they're getting little badges that are decorated with the Halloween candy and flowers and hearts. And then next month it'll be clovers, right? I mean, it's easy
Yeah.
gamification stuff. It's just the regular, but that's what we're seeing. Like, that's really the changes that we're seeing. Is the agents have always had the tools, but now they know how to find them. They know where to find them. And now they're working together with our supervisor instead of against their supervisor.
That makes a lot of sense. How are you seeing AI come into play with, like, the role of of course, it was gonna end there, right?
Yes, of
But
course.
with human
AI is
recognition.
so complicated. So we've seen a few different things. So starting first, the AQM, right? Which was, we were a little nervous that our AQM product was going to die immediately just because of how big AI grew. And a lot of our competitors were coming in and saying, AI, and you can do it so fast. And what we've found out is that AI is just so inaccurate, and it creates such a negative impact that we saw it decline in the market as fast as it grew. And so what we did, again, we thought forward, we saw this coming. We've been using AI for Emmett for like 3 years before this big firestorm happened.
Yeah.
But what we did is we built human training tools into our product, so that as our people are utilizing the system, it's automatically training our algorithms and our models. And so before hallucinations were even a thing that people were measuring, and before inaccuracies, and before all this stuff was already happening, we were already running at 93% accuracy on an AQM because of our manual tools. And so one of the things we always tell all of our clients, AI is the 2026 thing we gotta work toward. Is we always tell our clients, never allow an unsupervised AI into your system.
Mhm.
And that includes AQM, that includes decision making, that includes summarizing. It doesn't matter, but there needs to be a built-in accuracy and flag tool into the software, or you avoid it until there's a system. And it not an email to say this isn't accurate. There needs to be integrated AI training tools into whatever you're using. And
Absolutely.
that needs to become compliance. That should become the requirement to utilize AI with any kind of tooling, is to make sure that you have human accuracy tools built in. Now,
Absolutely.
on the negative, that's the negative side. On the positive side, one of our favorite things that we discovered, we have this module called AI Insights. And so what it does is it listens to our calls, and it listens to your tone of voice and your pitch and your energy, and all of the conversational analytics that come along with that AQM. And we used it with an outbound sales program, and just started asking it, like, what can these agents do? Like, what could happen? We already know their scorecard. We already have access to a good portion of their LMS and their procedures. And we're already hearing what their customers are rejecting and how they're rejecting, and their tone of voice, how strongly they're objecting. We could even identify where it is that the sentiment changed in the interactions during the call. And then, within like 6 hours, we can tell our client, hey, right here, this agent is losing their callers. They're pushing too hard, or they're being, they're not using the proper rebuttaling, or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
That was magic. It was absolute magic to watch AI be able to take that off of a human's hands, and to be able to provide us a summary. So it's not just saying, hey, here's how you could sell, but every single interaction has little coaching notes and little agent opportunities and little agent weaknesses, so that as the agents are going through the day, they get little dashboards that just say, hey, pay attention to this. And then again, always gamify it. As they implement, we can detect the trend, and we can say, nice job. You listen to the feedback and look how it's affecting your trend. So, I mean, it's magical, but it's like fire, right? You have to treat it with a lot of respect and a lot of fear, right? Put rocks around it, and put walls around it. Make sure that it is so well protected, so that it doesn't wreak havoc. But oh
That's a
man, it's
good
magic.
analogy. Fire.
I was just gonna say I love that analogy, and I've not heard that before. Do you guys want to share, going on that vein of seeing the magic happen with your customers? Do you want to share a success story with us?
I'd love to.
Yes,
Can
fire
I?
away.
Okay, great. Yes. So, so going back to another one of our outbound sales clients, it was literally brand new. One of our BPO clients had just won the business, and the client had it acquired a company and were just starting the sales process. And so our BPO had just purchased, they just won. It was like a 40-seat, little small outbound sales program, and the they had put into their contract that they had like 6 months to develop a scorecard and to find sales trends. And then they were going to work together with the client to set expectations and SLA. And then in 6 months, they were going to meet again and redo contract according to the last 6 months of performance. Well, we implemented our AI insights, and then we just kind of did the AQM piece for just a little bit. But they had no LMS. They had no scorecard. They had no history. Like, it was literally carte blanche. This was brand new. And it took us 9 days of just letting a model kind of run on the patterns. And we had an analyst that was just going through and using our training tools to say, nope, not that way, not that way. Yep, this is good. And they just used our interface, and they just kind of went through, and again, 9 days. And we had a scorecard built for them. We had suggested SLAs. And then we actually started generating LMS articles, like knowledge base articles for them based on what was happening in the calls and then the conversations from both sides. And none of it was fancy, right? It was just kind of like a output. But within 2 weeks, we just went to the client and we're like, hey, here, this is what you should be doing. Here's the scorecard you should start with. Here's a bunch of the articles that you should create. This is our script. This is our suggestion. And so they threw it in. Took about a month, right, to get everything in, because knowledge, it just takes a while to get stuff in. But
Yeah.
it took them at month 2, they approached their client and said, we're ready. And that difference between that 2 months and that 6 months earned them an extra 3 years on that contract.
Wow.
So and nobody had that expectation, right? It was just we knew what products we had, and the BPO came to us and said, here's what we're doing. And it took 14 days for
Wow.
us to be able to deliver, to give them a deliverable. Again, AI is magic when used within the proper tools, but it was miraculous. Couldn't believe that it worked as well as it did.
That's beyond
And
impressive.
very carefully, that month we did a month because we didn't want to just trust the AI, right? We didn't want to just say, here's what AI kicked out and what our analyst thinks. So they used it for a month to make sure that it was realistic and it fit. And of course they made changes, and of course they adapted it, but it still put them 4 months ahead of schedule.
Fantastic. And now, one of the things I've always loved about Snowfly is that it's like rooted in as Emmett alluded to earlier, rooted in human psychology and the inner psyche. So, what's next for Snowfly? Like, how do you envision the product evolving to meet the ever changing needs of our customers?
Ever changing needs. So right now, we're very excited about our 2026, 27, is communication. So in the past, it hasn't been quite as important, but as we're seeing that remote work taking a bigger and bigger toll on the psyche of the human, we're realizing that we need more and more human to human touch points and not just automation. So some of the things we're working on right now is building in our communicative AI and our automation and our gamification to build, kind of a Discord kind of processes, or, teams utilizing things that are already out there. Like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. They're all over, but giving people this protected communication channels where that's safe to have a little bit of fun. And it's safe to not be in trouble for productivity problems. And the research we have to do and we have to publish before we can really go hard into the market with this is that it doesn't actually damage productivity to allow people to play during the day. And one of the things that we're actually measuring right now, my director of IT, his name's Kyle Murphy, one of my favorite humans on the planet. he set up, we're all remote, right? We've got people in Mexico, we've got a couple in the Philippines, we've got a bunch in the United States and all over the place. And so he set up a Friday afternoon game day. And so everybody they either bring a board game or a card game or some kind of computer or a console game. And they spend 3 hours as a team. Anybody that can show up, right? And they just kind of hang out. And at first he was thinking, it'd be like 1 or 2 people, but it is like people set aside their time to go hang out with their coworkers. And so that's what we want to facilitate. We want to find ways, that's not going to work for everybody, but find ways to
Right.
get people together in their cultural way that's still safe and it's still protected within a company so that you don't have to go use a WhatsApp that's got all sorts of social and unprotection and all over the place. So we want to build that into our compliant environment, and still show the evidence that allowing people to breathe and to smile and to laugh, even if they're not on the phones per se, is still an effective work time.
Yeah,
That's
I
where we're going.
love
Wish us
that.
luck.
And it's the opposite direction of what people are thinking right
I
now,
know.
right? I love
Again, it's hard to
love
train people to think differently because you think I got to get my occupancy up and I've got to get
Yes,
my my attendance. I've got it. Yes, take a deep breath.
but yeah,
It's there's evidence to show that conversion and revenue is way more important, and it's just important to understand where that correlation is.
love that. Is there anything, you guys, that I haven't asked you about that you'd like to share with the audience today?
Well, I was just thinking when we were talking about the AI stuff is that one of the things I love about being able to show Snowfly to people that are considering AI, they've probably already looked at some products, looked at the price tags of some products. And it's either something that they're just scared to death to try because of the commitment and the amount of money that it would cost. We have in our manual QA tools a way for just about any contact center to step into just a platform that will allow for a lot of efficiencies to be able to go over more calls quicker. And those tools are the same tools that we use in our AQM. And so they can step into the AQM from maybe the manual QA tools. And it's a small step, right? It's not a huge
Yeah.
commitment, not a giant step. And particularly BPOs, which, they're always cost conscious.
Mhm.
We are able to show them how it works, how they can add the efficiencies. And then it's really fun because then we start talking to them about, well, this is a great coaching opportunity. Why don't we take a look at our coaching module? And they're like, well, where's this been all my life?
Yeah.
And a lot of the recognition and the incentives, we can do bonuses for people very inexpensively. And so we just have all these different answers. So a lot of people didn't even know it was a problem to begin with, but it's like we give them the solution and they're like, my life is so much better now. Thank you so
The same.
much.
Yeah.
And, and it's really gratifying because we don't have a huge marketing budget. We got me. And so I can't help people understand just how awesome the product is by showing them 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl, but I can step them into a very affordable product and then they get to see the white glove treatment. They get to see, the benefits and the productivity increases and the efficiencies. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, landing gigs is my favorite thing, obviously, as any salesman would say, but I'm probably even more gratified by the upsells that happen after I've handed it off because everybody is so pleased with the product that they bought. They want to know more. And so they keep adding on and it's great. I mean, it's one of the best parts of my job is to see how much people really enjoy our product.
I love the crawl, walk, run approach too, because so many, and like you said with BPOs, it just gives everybody that let's get comfortable and then move to the next level.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and I know you've alluded to this earlier, but a lot of products out there don't have that. It's all or nothing, or
It's all
it's
enough. Yeah.
everything there. So
Mhm.
as we wrap up, gentlemen, I've always been a fan of James Lipton. So to end the podcast, we do a little rapid fire. And so I'll ask you both the same questions, but Emma, let's start with you. What noise or sound do you love?
Do I love? Oh my gosh, you're probably gonna. I'll just say a crowd erupting in cheering and
Oh,
applause.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Eli?
that was a weird. I had to think for a second. Do you know that sound when you're in the mountains and there's a foot of snow and there's crust because it's cold and you step through the crust and everything's just completely silent? That
Yeah.
is just like peace. That is, yeah, my happy
Love.
place.
Eli, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, geez. Crowd erupting really loud. Uh, um, I don't know. What sound do I hate? I don't like people chewing, and I've got 4 kids, so that's a problem.
Perfect. Emmett, how about you?
Yeah, screaming baby. That's like
Screaming
every
baby. Oh, Emmett,
single
come
inch.
on over.
Yeah, every single like nerve in my body starts to go off.
Emmett, final one. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Profession?
Yeah.
Professional gamer.
Ooh.
Eli?
I'm just thinking if yeah, I would never try it because I'm terrible. I don't play games, but I'm just thinking you get paid to play games. That's got to be like
Would
you're on
be
the
all right.
mountaintop. You've
Gotta be
won.
fun.
So is this like wish list? Like it's, I guess, okay. So what I'd love to do, I would love to be a food tester. You know, the
Mm,
companies that are like building products are like a chef's,
yeah,
test that. Oh man, not a critic. I don't want to be a critic. I don't like the writing part of it, but I would love to food test,
the
man.
eating part of it.
That'd be great.
Depends.
Gentlemen, if somebody wants more information about Snowfly, who should they reach out to?
The best person on the planet is Gina. She'll tell you everything you need to know.
Mhm.
And in all honesty, Gina, I mean, talk to Gina because you know the technology and you know the peripheral and you know how to solve specific problems without having to buy more than you need. So bringing somebody like you, Gina, with an implementer, with the knowledge of what's going on, Gina. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank
100%.
you. And gentlemen, I've just had a blast. Thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to having you back maybe next year when you release the new
Ooh, all
feature
right.
functionality and we can talk about how that's impacting contact centers. But for today, thank you so much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the Tech Matchmaker. I hope today's spotlight sparks some fresh ideas and real solutions for your contact center. Want to dive deeper into the tech we featured? Hit up the show notes for all the links and extras, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if there's a challenge you want us to tackle, don't be shy, reach out. I'll catch you soon with more innovation, more use cases, and more ways to keep your business moving forward. Stay curious, stay bold, and keep exploring what's next.